All right, hey guys, welcome to part one of breaking down Allan Parr's straw man defense of Charlie Kirk. Now, before we continue, please like and share this video and subscribe to BP the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. Like many, I was horrified of what we saw on the television with Charlie Kirk's death. I knew of Charlie Kirk before because I follow that politics and social media. And then I like to respond, as I'm doing here, to different points of view. And Charlie was a advocate. He was a voice, and I'm going to say that for white America, that what he was energizing was white America. But then something extraordinary happened, that his death really energized that it seems the media, the coverage in the media, you would have thought the president was killed, the way that they covered the assassination all day, almost every media. Then of course his memorial service that had a huge phenomenal turnout, 80,000 depending on who's doing the counting. And it was Christians, though, that surprised me the most. I understand why the conservative, and I'm going to say the white conservative, were energized by Charlie Kirk, that he becomes the image, the symbol. And again, the symbol of what, though? So that brings me to what the video I'm going to be breaking down, and that is Allan Parr, who is a very popular YouTuber, over 1 million subscribers, very successful. And so, like a lot of people, jumping on the bandwagon of Charlie Kirk. And so my first question was, why? And we're going to see the video, because even in this opening video, you're going to see, to me, some surprising things about what he says. But I'll get to the video in a moment. But my question is, why? Why is there such fascination, fixation on Charlie Kirk? Now, I did a video also about Mike Winger, who's now on the Charlie Kirk bandwagon, and he too is coming out saying he wasn't a racist. So this is what we're going to, and I broke down his argument, and the same with Allan Parr, as we're going to see. What they are defending, what they are trying to debunk, is that Charlie Kirk is not a racist. So I'm going to get back to that in a moment. But here are Christians. These are Christians who are making this defense. Mike Ringer. And the video that we're going to look at is Allan Parr. So the question again is, why? Why are Christians using, or why is Charlie Kirk a symbol of Christianity now? He's kind of like the new symbol. Well, what gospel actually did he preach? Now, the fact is that, in fact, in both cases, Allan Parr and Mike Ringer, okay, so again, from a Christian perspective, what are you defending? What exactly are you defending here? And that is always interesting. So I'm going to break down Allan Parr's, his defense of Charlie Kirk. And again, it always boggles my mind. Why? Why the defense of Charlie Kirk? Now, my first thing would be views. I mean, look, it gets a lot of views. Okay. Allan Parr, in some of his videos, I'm looking now, some of the things, he's getting over 500,000, over 360,000 views. Okay. So, I mean, Talking Charlie gets a lot of views. Okay. And there are other, again, Christians, okay, Christians who again, are in this defense. So I'm going to be in the minority here because again, it's not going to be popular for me to kind of debunk this kind of argument. Okay, so let's bring the video up. I want to bring the video up. Let's see here. Share my screen, and let's go. I think all right. No, let me share my screen. Where are you at? Share screen. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. And by the way, this is not going to be one of my normal videos where I'm going to go too in depth in the scriptures, but just kind of the argument itself. And let me also say this, because Allan Parr is because he is a popular person, because he's a popular person, we may get interrupted with YouTube ads. And if that happens, I'll scroll through them as fast as I can. All right, so this is the video, Allan Parr. Let me give you the title here. Of course, his channel is The Beat by Allan Parr, but notice it says, my final video on Charlie Kirk. And then it says, exposing the lies one by one. And again, so far, this has 135,000 views. So like I say, this gets a lot of views per Charlie Kirk view. So again, I'm going to be breaking this down. This is part one, because I'm not going to get through the entire video. He's going to give 3 reasons what lies. Now, let me come out of this because I do want to explain his method. I think it's important before we get into the video to explain his method. And what he is accusing people of lying, he's doing the exact he's going to be doing the exact same thing. And he's not going to be honest about what really the issues are. So he's using the method. And that's why I'm doing it, to break down the method here. Okay? So let's get back. All right. Here we go.
I am a black man, unapologetic and proud. And I proudly stand on the backs of the...
I have to stop this right here. Because, see, he's posting this picture of Martin Luther King. And yet, Charlie said he's awful. Okay? He's awful. Martin Luther King was an awful man. Okay?
My ancestors who have risked their lives for me to be a black man that has the right to vote. A black...
Charlie Kirk says that this voting, the 1964 and 65 Civil Rights Bill, was a huge mistake. Now, I wanted to see this here. I'm going to go back and rewind and start from the beginning. But I want you to see then, again, what's his point here? Because what he's saying here, again, you're going to defend the man that was openly and unabashedly against what he is displaying right here. So what's his point? So let me go back, and I'm going to start it over because I know I had to show that. Here we go.
I am a black man, unapologetic and proud. And I proudly stand on the backs of those, my ancestors who have risked their lives for me to be a black man that has the right to vote, a black man that has the right to own a home, to purchase land, to drink from the same water fountains, to sit in front of the bus, and to have my children attend schools with kids who don't look like them.
But you're going to defend a man who was against that. Okay.
I have been a victim of racism. I've been a victim of prejudice and a countless number of microaggressions due simply to the color of my skin. So I am deeply grateful for those who fought for my right as a Black citizen of the United States of America. But there is something more important to my identity than being Black, and that is being a Christian. And at the forefront of Christianity is the pursuit of truth. In other words,
so I agree. However, he's not going to live up to this, what he's saying right here. Because again, why are you then defending Charlie Kirk? What is the whole purpose of defending Kirk? Why is this so important to you that you defend a man? And who is the man? Why is it important? It's almost like you would say that, hey, you know, I would defend the Apostle Paul, right? I would defend Peter. But why Charlie Kirk? And watch this. The very fact that he has to lead with this, okay, this setup here, which he's going to himself destroy because he has to defend Charlie Kirk, who all of the pictures that you just saw spoke against.
I, as a Christian, am choosing to elevate my identity as a Christian far above my identity as a Black man. And in doing so, I am committed at all costs to seeking out truth, because at the end of the day, Christianity is about being truthful. Christianity is about being a truth seeker. The Word of God says
Well, let's stop. If that's true, then why are you defending Charlie Kirk? Charlie Kirk made it his success on anti-Black rhetoric. As he's going to deal with some of the anti-rhetoric. So all of this that he's saying here is really hogwash, because he's going to say that now and then have to defend. It's like when people defend Trump, and Christians do. They defend him by excusing all of the ungodliness in him. So now let's take a look, and I know I'm jumping ahead right here in terms of this, to me, straw man defense of Charlie Kirk. And by the way, when I say straw man, of course, straw man is you set up an argument for the purpose of tearing it down. But in doing so, this statement that he's saying here, as far as truth, are you really seeking truth? He's going to prove that he's really not.
truth will set us free. Now, sadly, there have been a plethora of untruths spread about Charlie Kirk after his unfortunate assassination that, if I'm just being honest straight up, need to be cleared up and addressed. And once again,
why? What importance to the kingdom of God that you have to do an entire video, several videos? Why is that important? So what, people lied about him? So what, people misrepresented him? Why do you need to defend him? But there's not going to, and I'm going to say this, there's not going to be any benefit to the kingdom of God for you to defend him.
I had a whole other video that I had planned for today. As you know, on Tuesdays is my video day. I had other video in the queue. But I keep getting all of these text messages, and my inbox are filled with messages from people who have unfortunately been persuaded, unfortunately, people who have been hoodwinked, if you will, by mainstream media to believe that Charlie Kirk said and stood for things that he never said or stood for. And because he is unfortunately unable to be here to advocate for himself, others have to step up and advocate on his behalf.
You mean others like yourself? Okay. So now here, notice. Okay, here we go.
Now, to be clear, because I can already see where some of you all are going, when I say advocate, I'm simply saying to seek truth. I'm not fully endorsing everything that this man has said, thought, or done, and it is a shame that I have to keep saying this over and over again in the videos, but I know how some of
that ought to be a kind of a sign that if you have to keep correcting, because again, it's not like Charlie Kirk was a gospel preacher. It's not like Charlie Kirk was like the Apostle Paul. Like if people say Jesus was, unfair, yeah, see, I would defend that. I would say let's engage in conversation to say, because there, in fact, I'm thinking about there is a an atheist. She's out there and she's done tons of videos trying to disprove why God, Jesus, and the Bible are wrong. But why is it so important for you for Charlie Kirk? Okay, and then too, I'm going to say this before I'll let him finish. But you're going to spend the time trying to refute what that people are calling him racist. How about play the clips that makes him so great? Play the clips that make Charlie the icon that you guys are propping him up for. You're going to spend the time trying to say, well, he's not a racist. Okay, well, tell us what he does say. Let's see if he does.
you will be in the comments. I'm not fully endorsing anyone. The only person I will ever fully endorse everything they've said, done, or thought is Jesus Christ himself.
He's saying that as he is have an entire videos endorsing, defending Charlie Kirk.
Rest of us have said things, done things, and thought things that fall short of God's perfect standard, including Charlie Kirk. So now, before you go there, this video has absolutely nothing to do with politics or political party. It has everything to do with clearing up what I believe are lies that the mainstream media is using to smear a deceased man's name. Now, I know some of you are tired of videos about Charlie Kirk, and listen, I get it. This is more than likely going to be my final video that I do on Charlie Kirk, at least for some time. But I want you to just put all of your preconceived notions, all of your ideas aside, and just listen to what I'm going to say in this video. Please put your political positions aside, because this video is actually much greater than Charlie Kirk. It is about challenging people to use their God-given brains to be able to discern what someone has said and what they haven't. It's about using our brains to do some fact checking, to do our own personal research before we jump on the bandwagon and so easily be.
You're jumping on the bandwagon, and I will say agree. So let's do that. I will say this: he will do. Allan will do a good job of at least showing some clips. And I will say that's good. But we're going to see even the clips that he show, how he will twist them. All right, here we go.
Persuaded because you saw some isolated clip that was taken completely out of context, that the media has an agenda and they spun that in order to fulfill their agenda by the media, designed to get you to believe a narrative that is just actually not true. And they're preying on people that they know will not go back and fact check and watch the entire clip and put it in context. No, no, no. They want to just play a small clip and then get you to believe it. Well,
let me just say this. So what people believe, whatever they believe about Charlie Kirk. So what? What does that mean? Let's just say that everything that everybody believes about Charlie Kirk. I mean, on the fact that people that accuse him of being racist and anti-black. Okay, so what? They believe that. If you stop and you think about this, so what? They believe that. So who are you trying to now protect? Right? So what? They believe that. Okay.
I'm going to put an end to that. All right. So we're going to deal with 3 issues that I believe have been lies that have been spread about Charlie Kirk. So let's begin. Now, first up on the list is the topic of race. And since there's a strong possibility that some of you will click off of this video because you're not going to like what I'm going to say, I put this one on the beginning because I want to deal with this issue of race. Now, last video I talked about was Charlie Kirk a racist, but I didn't even go into any of the specific things that he said. I just dealt with it from a biblical perspective. But now I want to actually look at some clips and actually assess what did he say. Okay, so one lie that many people are promoting about Charlie Kirk is that Charlie Kirk said that black women don't possess the same brain power as white people. They are inferior in their intelligence. And this is the conclusion that people are drawing. They're saying, hey, he believes that all black women are inferior and they don't have the brain processing power to be successful or whatever people are saying. As a matter of fact, here's an example of what people are saying that he said.
Explain to me what Charlie Kirk meant when he said black women, such as myself, do not have the brain processing power to be taken seriously. And in order to get their jobs in high positions, like any job I had in government or in law, it was an affirmative action choice. And I took the slot of a white person.
Believe it or not, there's actually a very, 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 very simple answer to this.
So here's the first straw man that he is building up so that he can tear down. So the first thing is that, okay, this woman said that. Here's my response. So what? She said that. And you know, watch what he won't deal with. Okay, Charlie Kirk did not say black women or all black women. Okay, but as you know, viral clips always will garner this kind of response. So now let's watch what he doesn't say that he's defending then.
Okay, so we're not going to watch the rest of this clip, but this actually is another black.
Now, I have to be comical here because the argument that he's getting ready to give, I remember watching an argument about Tina Turner. Well, it wasn't Tina Turner. I'm sorry. It was about Ike Turner. And he was being interviewed, and why he did this interview, I don't know. But the interviewer asked him, like, did you ever punch Tina? And he was like, no, man, that was the movie told a lie. And he was like, I didn't punch Tina 5 times. I punched her 2 times. Okay. Now you see, so what he's doing is saying, well, see, I didn't punch her 5 times. That's the lie. But I did punch her 2 times. So that's the truth. But you punched her. And this is what this here straw man, the breaking down is, well, he didn't say all black women. And he's going to play the clip, but you did attack 4 highly educated black women. Why? Why did he say that? And then he's going to talk about the affirmative action. I'll get to that in a moment.
Lady who is going to give the full context and give a credible answer to this foolishness that this other black woman says that Charlie Kirk said. But we're not even going to watch this video. Let's actually look at the clip itself in its entirety. All right, here we go.
You really have to wonder, in fact, if we would have said 3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks.
So let's stop for a moment. Remember, he just lists 3 highly educated black women, more educated than he. All right. So now why is he attacking them? Why is he even talking about these 4 black women? And this is what Allan Parr is defending. Now he tries to say, I'm not defending everything he said. Then why are you defending this? Because this is where, see, the racist charge is going to come from. Why are you attacking these women? And if you're attacking affirmative action, how is these affirmative action picks unqualified? The other thing about affirmative action is that, of course, what Charlie won't do and what Allan, you're being a hypocrite. You played at the beginning the civil rights struggle that he's now tearing down. Why did we need affirmative action in the first place? Because white people did not hire black people in the workforce. That's why. And if you want to say that you're going to say people are going to be hired on the good graces, they didn't show anything for all 80% of this nation's history. You had to fight for civil rights. So you had to fight for it. And that was the mindset that Charlie is now defending. And Allan Parr, you're defending this.
Been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know.
But let's stop for a moment. Because white people wouldn't hire them. I'm here because of affirmative action, because white people wouldn't hire them. So you gotta finish the sentence. And Allan, why aren't you defending this? You said, Allan, you wanted truth. That's the truth. So now why is Charlie attacking these highly qualified, highly educated black women, even if they are affirmative action hires? So are you saying, Allan and Charlie, racism doesn't exist in the workforce, in the hiring force?
You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
Now let's stop for a moment. He said you had to steal a white person. This is what you're defending, Allan. How did they steal when they was never even given the chance? And if you want to say equality, Allan, as you know, as you just proclaimed at the beginning, then you know here you have 4 highly educated and qualified women in their prospective fields. But yet, remember, Allan, white people wouldn't hire them. White people wouldn't hire them, Allan, and you know this. And Charlie also knows this. But now he wants to say that they stole white people's slot. But remember, the white people never gave them the chance. So even when they would go knocking on the door, the white people were not hiring them. That's why you needed affirmative action.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color, but I can declare that I did not graduate on affirmative action. This is my personal story.
So again, how was she disqualified? And remember, she had to be hired by affirmative action because white people weren't hiring her. But as she said, how is she unqualified? So what spot did she take? And according to your lie, Charlie, and what you're defending, Allan, that if she was to go and apply using her credentials, would the white people have hired her?
I hear because of action affirmative. She can't even say that.
Okay, so now she's mocking. The superior white man is mocking now as if Donald Trump speaks very articulately. I digress.
We know. It's very obvious to us that you were not smart enough to be able to get in on your own.
How? That's not the reason why affirmative action. Tell me how she wasn't smart enough. Tell me her credentials or lack thereof. This is what you're defending, Allan. That you're defending that, hey, he's not a racist. I'm sorry, what is he doing here? This is classical racism. How do you think you had to have slavery, Allan? And I know you know this because you played the clips from the beginning. But you want to defend Charlie, who is tearing down black women, saying they're not qualified. See, no, remember, the racist would say, no matter how good a black person is, they're still lower than the most uneducated white person, hence Charlie.
I couldn't make it on my own, so I needed to take opportunities from someone more deserving. You know, this is
Who does she take it from that's more deserving? A legacy person? Let's say, for example, if Charlie was to go and apply, and with all of the 4 black women in each of the case, would they be taking a job from them? Now, according to Charlie, yes. Why? It's 4 black women that's taking the spot.
how arrogant Joy Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee are. They're so narcissistic, they think this is persuasive. They think we're like, oh, of course, that's why we need affirmative action, because you have impressed us with your brilliance. Of course. Oh no, imagine the world without Joy Reid. Imagine the world without Sheila Jackson Lee or Michelle Obama or Ketanji Brown Jackson. They think this is persuasive. They think as
I would say they're not trying to persuade you. But Allan, you're trying to persuade people that this is not racist. Why is he even talking about them? What is the point? And then, of course, you're not going to defend them, Allan. You're going to defend the man that's destroying them, trying to destroy their character, their achievements as nothing. That you're trying to say that with all of the 4 women, that what they have achieved is nothing. That's what you're defending, Allan. And then you're going to say, hey, he's not racist. That's the lie. Okay, he didn't say all black women, but see, a lot of black women, when they listen to him, what else would they conclude? If you say that the 4 women that he is disparaging, if he would say that about them, well, what do you think he would think about other black women? So that's their argument. Now, yeah, it's a straw man. It provides a good straw man argument for me, because you can say, well, he didn't say that. Just like Ike said, I didn't punish Tina 5 times. I punished her 2 times, right? Well, let's talk about what he's saying. Let's talk about the merit, Allan, that you're defending. Talk about that. Why is that Christian? Why is that truth? Is it truth that they're not qualified? Is it true that they stole a more deserving? They stole spots from a more deserving person, meaning white person. That's what he's talking about. Is that truth, Allan? You said, let's get to the truth.
kind of now reveal that I'm only here because of anti-white, anti-Asian forced discrimination policies that turned me into a bitter, resentful activist that hates white people, honestly, through.
So then, do they hate white people, Allan? That's what you're defending. See, again, you said you wanted truth. And why? He's accusing them of hate. Now, Allan, you know that as a Christian, you know that the Bible says that someone who hates is a murderer. And John says, you know that no murderer is going to enter the kingdom of God, that has God in them. Now, he said they hate white people. Why? Well, why do they hate white people? Let's talk about truth, Allan. You're saying he's not racist, so he just accused 4 black women of hating white people. So is that truth? Now, just like women, just like he just said, they hate white people. Let's talk about the same rhetoric. Like when the black women clip that you played, that he said a black woman, and you say, well, that's the lie. Well, is he telling the truth here that the 4 black women that he says is inferior, that's less deserving? I know that he didn't use the word. He didn't use the word inferior. I'm saying he meant it. And you could build up a strong man and say, oh, guess what? Lynn is lying on Charlie Kirk. And why do you, why is that so important to you? Now, I'm going to stop it here because I'm going to pick it up in part 2. I told you I'm going to do several parts on this. And break down again. I'm going to see the phoniness of Allan Parr's defense, straw man defense. See, and it's kind of interesting. You're not going to defend the black people, but you're going to defend the white man who is tearing them down, who's lying on them. All right, I'm going to pick this up in part 2. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to BP The Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. I'll see you in part 2 of breaking down Allan Parr's straw man defense of Charlie Kirk.